Paul Simon's bass player, Bakithi Kumalo, unbelievable, right? He played stuff like this, Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. You Can Call Me Al. When Paul Simon hooked up with this guy in '85 and made Graceland in '86, he said he was totally taken by the sound of Bakithi's playing, and especially how his bass sounded like a horn, right? All this stuff. Like, Bakithi played a fretless bass. So it's a bass that doesn't have any of these guys holding down the pitch. It's a very fluid, horn-like, sort of vocal-like. The reason I'm talking to you about Bakithi is because when we did with Eric, Happy Like a Chicken with His Head Cut Off, it was already going, I mean, it was almost destined to be that Paul Simon vibe, right? Obviously, you can't completely just go and rip it off, but for sure, Bakithi for me was a huge influence. So I decided to use my '68 jazz bass, which has seen some love over the years. I've had this instrument for about 10 years. Side note, when I bought it, the store that I bought it from told me that someone had a body protector, which is basically like a neoprene strap that goes over the whole body, and it's supposed to protect it from dents and scratches. And over time, what it did is it adhered to the lacquer and just took it away. Incredible. Inventions of the 80s. This is 1968 Fender jazz bass that I dearly love. I have flat wound strings on it, and it just sings to me. So when we were doing Chicken, I thought, I've got to use the old jazz bass. So trying to think about Bakithi, like what would he play on a tune like this? The bass line I came up with was... I waited until verse 2 or 3, but the back half of a verse to play a little line that sort of was my homage to Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. So I'll play that for you. It was like... Right? And that to me is about as far out into sort of like the noodling territory that I like to get. I really dread someone in a session or on a gig or whatever saying to me like, hey, could you actually not do that? Or could you do less? Ugh, I think I would die. And of course it's happened to me. It happens to everybody. But I put that line in and no one seemed to mind. And maybe somebody even said like, hey, that's cool. I'm okay, I got a little validation. But then it was so fascinating. We wrapped up the tune, and then the next day we came in, and Eric and BT specifically were both like, man, there's a break before the outro, before sort of the bridge outro section, the Please Take a Number section, where they were like, man, why don't you just play some stuff in here, you know? Like, go for it. Do that kind of like Paul Simon, Bakithi, like world music thing. And I will say, like, I don't like to be asked to play less, like, oh, don't do that. But also, I'm not crazy about being asked to like go for it. Probably because of some like self-esteem stuff, right? Or feeling like, ooh, what if the stuff I play isn't going to be cool enough? But I had like a great cheerleader section in BT who was like, yeah, like in the control room, like pumped with everything I played, which was really fun. So a few of the things that I got to play on the record, the end of the bridge where please take a number and Dr. Maxwell will see you now. And that line, let me just just say this, that line came to me without a bass in my hand. I was just singing. And word to musicians out there, if you have to come up with something, like you have to come up with a line, a melody, or something cool, a fill or something, don't hold the instrument in your hand. Be away from your instrument, or maybe have a different instrument that isn't your first instrument. And play that, or sing. And so for me, I wanted to hear, and then it was a matter of finding that phrase. Another one towards the end, we're playing this. What a fun song. I will say too, with this bass, I usually play a jazz bass with favoring this pickup. There's a pickup under this metal cover here, the neck pickup, and I usually play everything favoring this pickup. It's warm and big. It sort of sounds to me like a more articulate P bass. I almost never do the bridge pickup because I feel like it loses a lot of bottom end and support. But guys like Jaco Pastorius, guys like Bakithi Kumalo would play on this back pickup, select this back pickup to get more of that kind of like stick out of the mix, stand out sound. Also, anything you wanted to do with harmonics like Jaco would play comes out really well with this pickup. So it was fun to play lines. Because playing that with the neck pickup might sound a little more a little less authority and a little less saying like I'm the melody instrument. So I mean, this song was just a dream to play on for me because I got to use an influence of mine, I got to use a cool old bass, and put a few nerdy bass licks in, man. There's even a thing that as it's fading out that happens, that, oh, what a blast to get to put a lick in at a fade out. Like, it's fantastic. So anyway, enjoy Happy like a chicken with its head cut off.